Welcome to the Online Success Journey Podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey Podcast, Patience.
The Online Success Journey continues with episode 325. Every guest shares the path that took them to success. So you'll want to subscribe right now and ensure you'll never miss a journey. I post at least one journey each week and I would love for you to join me. Today we have Michael Marra, CEO of Entre, a social network and e-learning platform for entrepreneurs. His mission is simple, building the largest network of entrepreneurs. Hello, Michael.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on.
Thank you for coming. My audience are excited to hear your story, but start by telling us one thing we are going to learn from you today that will help us on our journey to success.
Sure. I think the easiest thing is, generally, about starting in getting into entrepreneurship. And, I think we can definitely dive into that. And we've learned a lot and helped a lot of people at those initial stages and just networking and meeting other like-minded people. So would love to dive into that more.
I would hear more. But let's start with the basics. Can you tell my audience a little bit about your background, about what you did before you started your own business?
Yeah, sure. So I used to be a civil engineer. So nothing related to tech and startups and entrepreneurship, like what I'm doing now. And, after I graduated and got a job and everything, I just had this itch to get into entrepreneurship and investing, and ended up first diving into real estate. And I grew up in Pittsburgh, and that's where, I had a job and everything. And then I left and moved down to Miami to start a real estate company, with one of my mentors, and, really just dove into all of that, wholesaling, foreclosure auctions, Airbnb rentals. And we also had a marketing agency too. So I learned a lot about, video marketing, SEO, email marketing, landing pages, funnels, social media, all of that. And that led me to wanting to really just branch off and do my own thing and start my own company and really help other entrepreneurs do the same. And I started building out this community and started doing events. And I realized that there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that don't really have a place to go. They don't really have a network and a platform that's designed and built for them to make it easier to start a business, grow a business, and meet like-minded people. So we started building out this app, and we started scaling the events. We partnered with all the major co-working spaces, did events in 12 different cities, partnered with Microsoft, did 3 events a month in New York at their headquarters, and we raised some money from angel investors and some venture capitalists, and started building out the technology for our app, which is our main focus now, is scaling this next generation professional networking app for anyone, anywhere, to get access to a great network and create content and host events and build a podcast or build an online business and find investors and co-founders and developers and freelancers and all of these things that you need as an entrepreneur in this new economy that we're living in.
As you mentioned about this new economy, how did you reinvent yourself? Or did you not have to invent at all?
Yeah, I think it's something that as things progress, everything's getting more individualized. Everything's, getting more focused on acquiring skill sets rather than degrees. And I think, from higher education changing to all sorts of other things changing and everything becoming more digital and virtual, you to be successful going forward in the future with technology, you really need to understand how to use and get a skill set and learn a skill set that is valuable for the future of work, for the new economy. And it's very different than what was valuable previously. So there's a lot of new skill sets that are becoming increasingly valuable that were never before really that valuable in the past. Like, yeah, just to give you an example of this would be like content. So like content creators, podcasters, all of these people creating content and videos on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, and all these creative minds, was never really a thing. And people doing this on their own without anyone else, right? So without the need of production and a fancy camera and all of these things, it's completely changing the game. And almost every company now is producing content in one way or another. And it's a huge part of their brand, and it's a huge part of how they're going to sustain themselves going forward and be relevant going forward in the new economy.
As you said that your mission is very simple. You want to create more entrepreneurs. But what do you do what you do?
Why do I do what I do? It's very important to me. Like when I first, got into all of this, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know no one in my family was an entrepreneur. None of my friends were entrepreneurs. So I was just scrambling on the internet trying to figure out how can I meet other people and talk to about all these ideas and business. And it was very difficult for me. So in a lot of ways, I'm building the platform that I wish there was when I was starting out. And I'm building the platform that I still wish there was, even for myself right now. There's still a lack of there's still not a cohesive network for these individuals that are coming into the workforce right now. The younger generation, they are on Snapchat and TikTok and a little bit on Instagram, but they don't use LinkedIn at all. And they're starting to get into business. So where are they going? Well, that's what we're building, is this place for them.
Let's put man aside. How do you know you are successful?
It's a very deep question there. I think you can look at success in a lot of different ways. I tend to look at it with the lens of freedom and how can I be the most free with anything that I want to do, and how can I help and empower the most amount of people. So for myself, success is I want to be able to do what I want, whenever I want, with who I want, as long as I want, wherever I want. And you can only really do that with, in most cases, large amounts of money. But if you look at company success as well, the most successful companies do the most good for the most amount of people, right? And you're solving very hard problems, and I love solving problems. And what I realized is entrepreneurship is the ultimate freedom. If you have a job, that means you have to be somewhere at a certain time, and you rely on someone else to make money and make a living. That is not freedom. That is not free necessarily. It kind of is, but really it's not. So entrepreneurship is the most, like, as close as you can get to ultimate freedom as possible. If you control everything, you control how you work, when you work, all of that, how you make money, and there's no ceiling for you to make money, then now you are in a state of financial independence and freedom. And if we can help more people reach that and achieve that, then we're going to be creating a lot better, in my opinion, lives, right? And just better experiences for more people to do the things that they really want to do with life. And so by creating a platform for more people to become more entrepreneurs and more people to be financially independent and more people to make more money on their own terms, we're creating a much better world, and all of these people are solving problems that are out there too. So it's something that I look at as, that's my success, and it's different for everyone. Some people's success could be just having a great family. Some people's success could be having a fantastic job and career, and there's nothing wrong with that. But, it's different. You have to figure out what it is for you. I figured out that for me, it wasn't easy, but, if you're looking for your bliss and you're looking for what success means to you, you'll find it. The people who don't find it aren't looking for it.
Well, as you mentioned that you are building an app for all entrepreneurs, but can anyone be really an entrepreneur, or are some people more cut out for it than others?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's something that I think people can be entrepreneurs and creatives and innovators in different ways, right? There's a lot of different ways to be an entrepreneur, and an entrepreneur has a lot of different meanings these days as well. I think it's something that, no matter what you're getting into, people like, thinking about ideas and solving problems and being creative and finding solutions to things. But it's not, it's not cut out for everyone. And a lot of people have situations and, they're much happier, right? If you look at success through the lens of happiness, right, too, they're much happier and they can have much better lives by having a really solid job, and they have a very stable, conservative lifestyle, and they're able to spend time with their family when they want to and do things that they want. And that might be great for them. But I think there's a lot of people out there that want to be entrepreneurs that don't have the resources or the network or the knowledge to be able to do that. So for all of those individuals, we want to be a place where they can come, where they can get the things that they really need and want to take that step into entrepreneurship. But, it's very different for different people and, different situations, and the timing of things where they're at on their life can play a huge role into it as well.
Well, in this economy, how can someone really start to build a social media app? But anyway, isn't it the market saturated?
It's saturated in the sense of if you're building a photo-based social network or a video-based social network for everyone to talk about everything, it's going to be very difficult to do that. We're focusing, we are a social platform, but we're really more of a professional network. We don't want it to be something where people are talking about everything and anything. It's more focused on business, personal development, entrepreneurship, health and wellness, and those things. So we are limiting, we are a more niche and focused network, although there's hundreds of millions of people that fit into that niche. There's really a huge opportunity to build a younger, modern LinkedIn for the next generation. If you look at social networks, there's a lot of evolution to them, even in the last 25 years, right? You've had, really like MySpace, and then Facebook were kind of like the first ones, and then, now, Instagram has way more users than Facebook, and, TikTok's emerging as a massive platform, and Snapchat, and, then there's Twitter too. But you look at the professional networking side, it's really just been LinkedIn. What's the evolution of professional networking? That's what Entre is.
But is it easy to start really building this social media app? Tell us a little bit steps if somebody's there interested to start an app.
Yeah, I mean, apps are definitely not easy. Social networks are some of the hard, it's one of the hardest businesses you can get into, for sure. And apps are very tricky if you're a non-technical person like myself. You need to find really good partners. You need to find really good developers to, that are going to be along with you for the journey. And finding those people is not easy. And it's one of the reasons why I started this, was to make it easier for people to find those co-founders and developers to help them. So, if you are starting out and you do want to build an app, what I would recommend is, number one, validating your idea a lot. Talk to a lot of people and make sure you have some general interest for what you want to do. And you can do this very easily by just going on to, Figma or different design platforms, and just making a some quick designs, some quick layouts, a quick prototype for what you want to build. And there's, like I said, a lot of different ways that you can do this. There's different design platforms. There's different prototyping platforms that you can leverage. There's different templates and different, things that you can download to, move screens around and move things around. And then there's a lot of no code platforms as well, where you can build, a first version or minimal viable product. A lot of people will say MVP, and get it out there for people to see if it's something that anyone even wants. It's really tricky to just build something off of an idea when you don't talk to anybody. And a lot of people spend a lot of money building things that nobody wants. So you really want to make sure that you take the right steps. Like for me, I had an online community, I had a Facebook group, an Instagram. There's people that were joining that all the time. Then we did events. There's people coming to events for entrepreneurship and networking. Well, there's clearly something there. Then we built out the first prototype. People joined that. They signed up for it. They joined a wait list. Clearly there's some interest there. So we kept iterating on top of that. And you'll learn very quickly if something's interesting to people or not. If there's a level of interest, then to keep going. If there's not much interest and there's friction and you're really trying really way too hard to get people to sign up and join and all of that, you probably need to change your approach and need to come up with a different idea or slightly modify it to make it more interesting and more intriguing for people.
How long did it take you to earn a salary from your app?
Yeah, so I started initially building out the app in 2019. We rolled out the first version of the app last year, and then we were rolling out the second version of the app here now. So to really build, knowing what I know now, I would, number one, focus on one platform. So instead of focusing and having iOS, Android, and a web app all synced together, just roll out web first or mobile or just iOS first, so you can focus on one market at a time. That's really, really critical. So if you're mobile first, just do iOS, at the beginning, and then you can roll out Android later, and then you can roll out web later. It will allow you to focus, and then focus on a few different features or a few unique features rather than building a bunch of features. We built way too much, way too early, and we built out iOS, Android, and web all at the same time. So there's a lot to manage, but we're in a really good place now because we have all of the platforms and everything's available on all devices. But it can take, usually the first version, you should try to get it out in people's hands within 3 to 6 months, and then iterate on that after user feedback.
What have you learned from business as a whole?
Oh, that's a loaded question. I mean, there's so many things. Focus is very, very important. When you have too many things going on, it's very hard to get anything done meaningfully. Meaning that if you're working on 3 different things, or you have your day job and then you're doing another business on the side, and you're putting 50% energy into both, you're going to get 50% of the results. It's very hard to, you need to focus and obsess over one thing is extremely important. Patience is extremely important, and continuing to focus on that long-term vision and staying motivated, and getting people around you that are supportive of what you're doing. And the team is extremely, finding the right people is most of the game, because you can never do anything by yourself, especially any type of company. You can do some things, but if you want to build like a big business, you're not going to be able to do it by yourself. There's no way. If you want to just, be an influencer and have a podcast or whatever else in an online business, you can do that yourself with maybe a few freelancers and stuff. But if you're trying to build $1 billion company, or, have a very multi-million dollar, business, you're not going to be able to do that by yourself. So you need to figure out how to build a good team and surround yourself with quality people.
Tell us how to build a great remote team.
Yeah, so we're mostly remote, and I think that's also part of the future of work too, is this remote working environment, and it's something that I think is extremely important. And there's a lot of different strategies for it, but I look at it as, being able to, as long as someone is communicating well, getting the work done on time, and they fit the company culture, I don't care where they're working from or, how they're working, as long as they're getting the results that are needed. So we have people from all over the place. We have people from like 5 different countries as well, and all over the U.S. And it can be difficult to manage at times, but that's why, having good managers and good executives that have done this before and managed remote teams before has helped a lot too.
If you could rerun the first year of your business, what would you definitely know to do?
Oh boy. I think I hinted to it a little bit earlier, like, focusing on one thing and starting, with a few unique features is really, really important. I wish I would have done that. I wish someone would have told me that. I wish I would have really focused on that, because it's really hard to do a lot. It's very difficult to have a bunch of different things going on and, and make it meaningful and do a bunch of things really well. It's really hard. So start small and grow. Meaning, if I was building an app now, I would have just built an iOS app first. I would have focused on a few core features that people were using consistently over and over again. And until I got that right, I wouldn't have done anything else. And then you just grow from there and listen to users and get feedback and iterate and iterate and iterate.
What grounds you?
What grounds me? Family and friends help a lot. Just, doing things, that you enjoy outside of work. But my work is my work is my life. There's nothing more that I enjoy doing than doing this and helping entrepreneurs and talking to entrepreneurs and working with entrepreneurs. So, it's extremely, my work is really, really important to me, and it's hard to separate that from, my personal life. It's just so attached. So it's not necessarily the, for everyone. It's very hard to, have this kind of a lifestyle. But, if there's ever feelings of, being burnt out or working too much and stuff like that, then getting outside, spending time with friends and family, change of scenery is helpful a lot. Spending time in nature. I love going for walks and, doing things outside, playing sports, all of that, helps tremendously.
What is one thing that has contributed to your success?
I would say persistence is probably the biggest thing that comes to mind. Just, continuing to, keep at it.
As you mentioned before, you have mentors. What is the most valuable thing your mentors has told you?
Yeah, a lot of what I've said so far has come from, my mentors and things. One thing that stands out is just thinking big. It's, a lot of people don't believe they can do things. They don't believe they can be a millionaire, which is why they never will be. They don't believe they can start a business, which is why they won't. So, number one, thinking big and believing in yourself too are some of the biggest things that you could ever do for yourself and everyone around you. Because if you don't believe in yourself, not many people will.
What is one thing no one knows about you?
One thing no one knows about me. I'm a pretty open book. I don't know if there's something that nobody knows about me. I would say maybe most people don't know that, my first job was, in a concession stand, at a baseball park, I guess would be, something that most people have no idea about.
What is the most important question to ask someone who's bought from you?
Yeah, I think part of a really good question to ask, just for having clarity is really, really important. So, when you asking people if what they're doing is actually in line with who they are is a really deep question, right? And most people know in their gut if they're actually what they're doing is actually in line with who they are as an individual and their personality and what they like doing. And if you answer that question truthfully, you'll get to the bottom of a lot of things.
Let's talk about your business. Tell us more about it and who can join it.
Yeah, I mean, we're open to everybody. So, like I said earlier, our focus is, it is business centric and personal development centric. We have entrepreneurs of all types, from tech founders to online entrepreneurs to solopreneurs and freelancers. We have a lot of investors and developers on the platform as well. So our goal is to democratize access to entrepreneurship, to make it extremely easy to network with the right people, to make money, and to be financially independent in the new world, right? So it's building in this new network for all of these individuals entering the workforce or that are looking for a different career path and a different lifestyle than what they have previously had. So that's really it. But we're very, we want to be very open, and our goal is to be the most accessible platform. We want to be the largest, but we also want it to be we don't want to be private. We don't want to be paid. We want this to be very accessible to anyone who's interested in this stuff.
And where can we find your app, and how can we connect with you?
Yeah, well, we're the website's Join Entre, ENTRE, just like the beginning of entrepreneur.com, joinentre.com. We're on social at Join Entre on all the platforms. And if you just type in Entre into any of the app stores, you'll find our mobile app there. I'm on all social platforms under Michael W. Marra too, so always open to connecting with anyone there as well.
There will be more from Michael in a moment. If you are listening to this on a podcasting platform and you are encouraged by Michael's journey, please go to our website at onlinesuccessjourney.com. The site has tons of audio clips from hundreds of successful entrepreneurs' guests' journeys, all there to help you find a path to your own online success journey. The site offers exclusive members-only content, and you can join absolutely free and be part of this amazing online success community today. Check it out. That's onlinesuccessjourney.com. Now, Michael, I would love for you to share more with my audience if you're up for it. Thank you. Do you like to watch movies or read books?
Which do I like more? I like both, but I'm much more of a visual learner, so I enjoy movies a little bit more than books, probably. Yeah, I would say movies over books, but there's nothing better than a good movie, honestly.
Tell us, what is your favorite movie that has some relevance to being an entrepreneur?
There's a documentary called Finding Joe that's really, really good. It's about it's kind of based on Joseph Campbell's philosophy of the hero's journey, and that was really, really important for me as I was graduating college and started thinking more about things. But that one is really, really good. Finding Joe. It's it's very inward. It makes you think a lot about what you're doing and how you can, get more aligned with yourself. And, it's very, very interesting. I would highly recommend it.
If your business was down to its last $100, how would you invest it?
If my business was down to the last $100, how would I invest it? So that's tricky. I mean, $100 isn't a lot to work with. It's something that you can't really do much with that. So you would have to figure out how to make money or raise money with what you have. So $100 is almost meaningless. What you could do is figure out a way to turn that 100 into 1,000 or some other way. So myself, what I would do with that is probably figure out how to, and I started my company with basically nothing, and we started doing it through events, and it's a great way to generate some revenue and, build things out. If you can, get a venue and for free, there's a lot of ways to get free venues, and then you can charge tickets to come, and you can do it through Eventbrite, and it's a free platform, or do some sort of service-based businesses are one of the easiest ways to get started in entrepreneurship, meaning that you do work for someone, for a client or consulting, or you do some sort of service for someone else. And that could be taking pictures, photography, creating content, doing some sort of work, managing social media accounts. There's a million different ways of doing it. So I would first start by figuring out how to make money, or I would approach investors and share with them what we've built, and look to raise capital from investors. So those are probably the two different ways I would approach it, depending on what I would feel most comfortable with.
If you are going to keep a note to yourself in your pocket every day, what would be written on it?
A note on the back of my phone. It's like a fortune cookie note. It just says set high goals. So I like that. I like thinking big. I like, be yourself. Those sorts of things, just like little reminders to you never lose track of who you are and what you really want in the long term. Regardless of short-term sacrifice, you need to, really believe in that.
What is your next chapter?
My next chapter is Entre 2.0, our new app release, our new launch, scaling this company, becoming a real like tech company, from, taking the next step from being a startup, to really being a tech company, and scaling the team to 50, 100 people, and, raising, more capital from larger investors, and, taking more, ownership of what we're doing, and really, stepping into that role.
Would you ever stop?
So the short answer is no, right? What I'm doing now is what I want to do for the foreseeable future. And I strongly believe that we're going to make one of the largest impacts, for a tech company that, for humanity that you can make. We're going to empower and help a lot of people make money and, live the lives that they want. Until that happens, which is probably going to be another at least 10 or 20 years, there might be a chapter after that where, my focus takes me, somewhere else, and, leads me to doing different things, or, having another initiative or focus. But until, those things happen, until we achieve the largest network of entrepreneurs, help the most entrepreneurs in the world, create the best platform and the best user experience possible for entrepreneurs, and, until that happens, there's nothing else that, I want to do.
To remind us how we can connect with you.
Just joinentre.com, @joinentre on social, and feel free to reach out to myself as well. It's just michael.news is my personal site, and social is Michael W. Marra.
Thank you. Michael, it's been great to have you to share your online success journey with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you. Remember, success is a journey. Don't wait. Let's start the journey. Patience and Michael.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to Patience and her guest, and want you to know there are hundreds of episodes available at onlinesuccessjourney.com. Patience would like to thank you for listening to the podcast, and she has a free gift for you on her website, including an audio compilation of her guests' best tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. Additionally, there are special clips of over 250 episodes that have never aired on the podcast, and they're only available to members of the Online Success Journey. Check the website and click on Join Now to get free and instant access. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps each of us chart our own path. So make sure you're subscribed on your favorite platform to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the Online Success Journey and listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review the podcast at iTunes and other sites. We appreciate your help and your willingness to share your journey. One last thing. If you're feeling a bit lost or overwhelmed on your own journey, Patience can help. Check out her course on clarity while you're at the website. Finding clarity is a great way to get back on the right path. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.